Let's get started with our first news. Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather are officially set to face each other in a shocking exhibition match in 2026, and the entire combat sports world is buzzing. Both legends gave their statements to TMZ Sports, and the words they shared made this announcement even bigger. Tyson, never one to hold back, admitted just how surreal this matchup feels to him. He said this fight is something neither he nor the world ever believed would or even could happen. Boxing, in his words, has entered a new era of the unpredictable, and this fight represents that perfectly. Tyson confessed that he still cannot believe Floyd truly wants to step into the ring with him. In Tyson's mind, this decision is going to be detrimental to Floyd's health, but despite his warning, Floyd is determined. The contracts are signed and the fight is on. Tyson closed his statement by saying that although he can hardly believe it, the reality is set and the countdown has begun. On the other side, Floyd's response was classic Mayweather, calm, confident, and dripping with swagger. He reminded the world of the legacy he built over 3 decades in the sport. Floyd made it crystal clear that no one has ever been able to tarnish what he created, and he has no plans of letting that change now. He said if he's going to do something, it will always be big, and it will always be legendary. In his own words, he is the best in the business of boxing, and this exhibition is another chapter in that story. Floyd promised the fans that this event will deliver exactly what they crave. He knows people are talking, he knows critics exist, but he insists that people only talk about winners. Floyd also pointed out how jealousy fuels much of the criticism he receives. He laughed at the idea that people are upset with him for continuing to make money decade after decade. He said if he were in their shoes, he'd probably be mad at Mayweather too. He'd be hating as well, because for nearly 30 years he has been able to secure massive paydays over and over. According to Floyd, people can keep hating because he is not slowing down and he is not changing who he is. Then, in classic Mayweather fashion, he drifted into a series of personal remarks. He spoke about crocodiles, Himalayan phones, crocodile bags, and declared, "It's my life, man." He insisted people can keep hating, but it doesn't bother him one bit. He reminded everyone that he is still winning, still making history, and still living a lifestyle beyond imagination. To Floyd, everything he touches becomes a spectacle, whether it's boxing or beyond. He even drew an odd but entertaining comparison to football, saying that the NFL might have started, but this is his football. His football is the ring, his gloves are green, and when he steps in there, it's always about money, power, and legacy. Now with both men locked in, the fight is officially happening. Tyson is ready to bring his explosive power, while Floyd is ready to showcase his unmatched defensive genius. This is not just an exhibition, it's a clash between two eras, two icons, and two of the most polarizing figures the sport has ever seen. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We're constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That's why we truly appreciate it. If you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier recently revealed that he directly confronted JDM over a post that had the MMA community buzzing. Just a few days ago, JDM stirred the pot when he shared a meme suggesting there should be a button to mute DC during UFC commentary. That post immediately went viral, essentially siding with DC's critics, and as everyone knows, there are plenty of them. In a brand new video on his YouTube channel, DC opened up about exactly what went down behind the scenes. He explained that he reached out to JDM personally, not through social media but directly over text messages. According to DC, he wrote, "Jack, that's wrong, bro. Why, Jack? Why?" DC said that the response came quickly. JDM immediately apologized and admitted it was a mistake. His reply was simple, "My bad, DC. Wrong take." With that, the tension seemed to dissolve, but the story highlighted just how much pressure and scrutiny both fighters and commentators are under in this sport. What might seem like a harmless meme to one person can create waves of controversy, especially when it involves a respected figure like DC. The timing of all this is even more dramatic, because in just 2 months, JDM will step into the octagon for the biggest fight of his career. He's set to face Usman, currently recognized as the #2 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. This matchup is being called a super fight, and for good reason. If JDM manages to pull off the win, he not only cements himself as the true king of the welterweight division, but he also sets the stage for a host of new and exciting matchups. Fighters like Kamaru Usman, Sean Brady, and Shavkat Rakhmonov are all waiting in line, ready to stake their claim if JDM comes out on top. But the stakes don't end there. If Islam secures the victory, the implications are even wilder. Many believe he would immediately consider dropping back down to lightweight, where a fight with Ilia would become one of the most anticipated bouts in recent memory. That scenario would throw the entire welterweight division into chaos, leaving contenders stuck in limbo while Islam pursued greatness across two divisions. This fight is being hailed as one of the most important in recent UFC history. It isn't just about a title defense, it's about the future direction of two divisions. For JDM, it's about proving he's not just another rising star but the man to beat at welterweight. For Islam, it's about expanding his legacy, chasing another belt, and showing that his dominance at lightweight can carry over into a heavier division. The outcome will ripple far beyond the cage, affecting rankings, matchmaking, and the narrative of the UFC for years to come. Daniel Cormier's run-in with JDM over a meme may have been resolved quickly, but it serves as a reminder of the spotlight these fighters live under. Now, with all eyes on this monumental clash, both men have the opportunity to etch their names in history. Move on to another news. Borralho appeared on the Pound for Pound podcast this week ahead of his highly anticipated clash with Imavov at UFC Paris, and he did not hold back when discussing his mindset and game plan. Confident and composed, Borralho explained that while many fans expect a competitive fight, he sees it playing out very differently. He acknowledged that Imavov brings speed and explosive power, noting that his ability to explode into exchanges has been a key part of his success. Borralho admitted that this is something he must remain aware of throughout the fight, emphasizing the importance of positioning. He said that by controlling the distance and keeping his awareness sharp, he will be able to neutralize those bursts of offense. For Borralho, the stakes could not be higher. He made it clear that the winner of this fight is destined for a title shot. In his words, there is no if and no maybe. Whoever walks away victorious in Paris will have earned the right to fight for gold. Borralho considers himself one of the biggest prospects in the division right now, and his resume backs it up. Riding a 16-fight win streak, he reminded everyone that in each of those victories he fought like a beast. He pointed to previous opponents, noting that while some had good moments, nobody was able to do to them what he did. He mentioned how he dominated Jared Cannonier, pointing out that nobody else has managed to impose their will the way he did in that fight. In his eyes, he is in his prime, fully healthy, and ready to take on the toughest challenges without hesitation. Borralho also addressed the idea that Imavov had avoided him in the past. He said that Imavov ran from this matchup before, but now there's no running. This time he is coming directly for him. He promised to put Imavov in his place and make this fight look far less competitive than people are expecting. Just as he has done in all his previous fights, Borralho plans to dominate. When asked about his road to the title, Borralho reflected on what he has been saying since his very first fight in the UFC. Back then, he declared that he would become champion by the end of 2025, and he still firmly believes that. He has been putting that vision into the universe from day one, and now as he stands on the brink of a title eliminator, that dream feels closer than ever. He added that if there is a big card in December, he would absolutely want to be a part of it, because he is determined to turn his words into reality. For now though, his focus remains razor sharp on Imavov. He explained that the map is very clear in his mind: beat Imavov, solidify himself as the #1 contender, and then fight for the belt. He doesn't believe a Khamzat rematch will materialize anytime soon, which makes his path even clearer: beat Imavov, then fight for the title. Still, he stressed that he is not looking past his opponent, reminding everyone that the only way to reach that belt is to win this fight first. Move on to another news. Kamaru Usman has his eyes firmly set on a massive opportunity, and he made it clear in a recent interview that if JDM is able to successfully defend his welterweight title against Islam, he wants to be the next man standing across the octagon from him. Usman explained that if JDM gets past Islam, there would be no better way to truly solidify him as the face of a new generation of champions than by facing the former pound-for-pound king of the division. Usman believes that matchup would not only be logical but also monumental for the sport. It would serve as the ultimate passing of the torch moment, with JDM proving himself against one of the most dominant fighters in welterweight history. Usman broke it down very clearly. If JDM wins, he should fight the biggest name in the division, and that is unquestionably him. He sees himself as the measuring stick, the standard that every welterweight has had to live up to over the past several years. Facing him would allow JDM to prove that he truly belongs at the very top. Usman's reasoning is that if you want to crown a new era, you have to test the champion against the very best of the last era, and in his mind there is no debate he is that guy. But Usman didn't stop there. He also addressed the flip side of the coin. If Islam pulls off the victory and becomes the new welterweight champion, then the UFC would have something even more spectacular on their hands. It would be a pound-for-pound showdown like no other. Islam already sits near the very top of the pound-for-pound rankings, and Usman has been in that position before. A fight between them would not only be about the welterweight belt but about legacy, dominance, and proving who the true #1 fighter in the world really is. When asked about his motivation and where he stands in his career right now, Usman spoke with confidence and clarity. He admitted that some people have been questioning whether he is still that guy, whether he can still hang with the elite of the division, and whether he still has what it takes to compete at the highest level. According to Usman, he has already answered those questions. He said he has gone into fights and shown the world that he can still perform at the top level. He has already proven that he can still do his thing against the very best, and for him that's all that matters. Usman doesn't seem worried about the future, nor is he desperate for validation. He believes his resume speaks for itself, but at the same time he is hungry for the biggest fights, the fights that define legacies. Whether it's against JDM after a successful defense, or against Islam if he shocks the world and takes the belt, Usman wants to be the man standing in the octagon for that next chapter. In his eyes, it's about continuing to prove himself, continuing to challenge the new generation, and showing once again why his name will always be tied to greatness in the sport. Daniel Cormier recently shared a story that caught the attention of fight fans everywhere, revealing how JDM actually reached out to him with an apology after taking a public dig at his commentary. The situation began during UFC 319 when JDM reacted to a post suggesting there should be a mute DC button for broadcasts. The post, which poked fun at Cormier's commentary style, was quickly reposted by JDM, and it spread fast among MMA circles. With so many critics of DC's commentary already out there, seeing a top contender like JDM join in seemed to sting even more. Cormier opened up about the moment on his own platform, explaining exactly how it went down. He recalled being on a show a few weeks back when the topic was brought up. He said the message was clear: mute DC's mic, and JDM had given it a boost by sharing it. Cormier admitted that seeing the post from someone like JDM was disappointing, especially because he has always tried to show respect to fighters in the octagon. Rather than let it sit, DC decided to reach out to JDM directly. He sent him a text message, straight to the point. "Jack, wrong, bro. What's up? Why? Jack, why?" Those were the words Cormier said he used. He wanted to let him know face to face without social media noise that he didn't appreciate the dig, and according to DC, JDM responded almost immediately. The reply was short, humble, and apologetic. "My bad, DC. It was a bad take." That was the exact response from JDM. Cormier went on to explain that this meant a lot to him. He gave credit to JDM for owning up to it, saying that not everyone in the sport would be quick to apologize or admit they were wrong. In DC's words, "Heads up to the boy JDM for responding to me when I said that." He shared that he even reminded JDM how he has always shown him respect. He said, "Yo Jack, what's up baby? I've always been respectful." And once again, JDM doubled down, replying with the same simple but sincere message: "My bad DC, bad day." The whole exchange may seem small on the surface, but in the fight game, respect and reputation mean everything. A public jab, even if it's just a retweet of a meme, can snowball into a bigger issue, especially when it involves a commentator as polarizing as Cormier. Yet the way JDM handled it, admitting it was a mistake and moving on, shows maturity and self-awareness that many fighters don't always display. Cormier acknowledged that he appreciated the gesture. For him, it wasn't about holding a grudge or blowing the moment out of proportion. It was simply about principle. If someone takes a shot, he's gonna confront it directly. But if that same person shows accountability, he's more than willing to accept the apology and move forward. With both men clearing the air, the focus now shifts back to the cage. JDM has the biggest fight of his career ahead of him against Islam, and DC will likely be on commentary when it happens. Whatever tension existed between them has been resolved, leaving nothing but the fight itself to take center stage. Move on to another news. Ilia just can't seem to stay out of the spotlight, and this time it's because of a major situation brewing between him and the UFC. According to ESPN journalist Papa Legospi, a respected Spanish media figure with close ties to Ilia, tensions behind the scenes are reaching a boiling point. Legospi, who fans also remember from that hilariously awkward interview with Max Holloway, dropped a bombshell update on what's happening between Ilia and the UFC. Over the past few weeks, Ilia has been dropping hints that he's losing the fire and the love for the game. This isn't just frustration over one fight falling through, it's a pattern. First, the long-rumored showdown with Islam never materialized, and now his highly anticipated matchup with Paddy is dragging on without any clear direction, leaving Ilia more and more irritated. Not long ago, Ilia sat down with the Neilk boys and admitted something shocking. He said that he is so determined to avoid fighting Usman that he would actually vacate his lightweight belt rather than face him. That single comment set off alarms inside the UFC. Legospi reported that Dana White and the matchmakers were furious. Dana in particular has never liked when fighters bounce around divisions, threaten to walk away, or even bring up retirement, but in this case he's genuinely concerned that Ilia might be serious about burning out and stepping away from the sport altogether. Because of that, discussions have already started behind closed doors. Dana and the UFC matchmakers are now weighing the possibility of moving Ilia up to welterweight, with the idea of pairing him against the winner of Islam versus JDM. Normally, Dana hates making these kinds of exceptions, but Ilia isn't just any fighter, he's a rising star with crossover appeal, and the UFC knows that losing him completely would be a massive blow. For that reason, Dana is actually open to making this move if it keeps Ilia active and motivated. The frustration is clear on both sides. Ilia still holds the lightweight title, but his patience is wearing dangerously thin. He has already spoken openly about how chasing dream fights that never come together is killing his drive. The Islam fight fell through, the Paddy fight keeps stalling, and the Usman situation pushed him to the point of threatening to vacate his belt. To the UFC, these aren't just words anymore. They see a real risk of Ilia burning out, and they know his absence would leave a massive hole in one of the most exciting divisions. As Legospi put it, Ilia's talk about retiring triggered a strong reaction inside the UFC. Dana and the matchmakers did not like it at all. Dana especially hates when fighters jump weight classes or talk about walking away, but in this case he is seriously concerned Ilia might actually step away. That's why they've started discussing a move to welterweight, with Ilia potentially facing the winner of Islam versus JDM. Dana doesn't like making these exceptions, but with Ilia's star power and the risk of losing him, he's willing to bend. Right now, the matchmakers are scrambling. Dana is furious, and Ilia is stuck in limbo. He's still the champion, but every passing week without clarity seems to push him closer to the edge.